Hillary Ann Crosby. Hillary Ann Crosby, representing herself against the bill. Not testifying. Mary Colonnade. Mary Colonnade against the bill, representing herself against the bill. We'll show her not testifying. Wait a second.
No, that's not her. Do not
okay.
Tell her
if you come up to the clerk and tell them who you are, they'll get you in line. If you've been called, go up here to the clerk there. Abigail Axtell. Abigail Axtell against the bill, representing herself, not testifying. Lisa, I showed her not. I said not testifying. Lisa D'Amico. Lisa D'Amico, representing herself, testifying against the bill.
Thank you very much for hearing me this evening. My name is Dr. Lisa D'Amico. I'm a constituent of Representative Michael T. McCall. I came today to testify against this bill and to make a confession. I was born after Roe v. Wade. For most of my life, I mistakenly believed that the fight was over. The Supreme Court's 1973 decision to protect women's right to privacy under the 14th Amendment's concept of personal liberty and restrictions upon state action, and the 9th Amendment's reservation of rights to the people, which protects both a woman's decision whether or not to terminate her pregnancy and a doctor's right to practice medicine freely, seemed beyond questioning. I know now how short-sighted I was. My mother's generation and her mothers before her fought for the rights I took for granted. The right to choose, the right to make the decisions about my own body, the right to keep those decisions between myself and my physician, the right to make these decisions without any interference from the government. I'm here today to rejoin the fight for women's constitutional rights to privacy and body sovereignty. I am sorry that we must continue to fight for rights already granted by the highest court in the country. Texas was founded upon a philosophy of limited government involvement in citizens' lives. Even school children know about the spirit of independence and individual autonomy. I would like to know how this philosophy applies to this government's determination to interfere in women's private health decisions. How can a government continually vocalize support for individuals' rights and small limited government, while at the same time working overtime to force a special session dedicated to interfering with the very private health decisions of Texas women? The purely political purpose of this bill is to shut down health centers and deny women access to health care, including safe, legal abortions. This bill will not only do nothing to protect women's health in Texas, it will cause one of the greatest health crises in the state's history. Banning abortions will not make them stop. It will simply drive them back into basements, back rooms, and unsafe conditions. The women of Texas deserve proper health care options. We do not deserve to be forced into the kind of nightmare that existed before Roe v. Wade. If, in 1973, the Supreme Court decided that women and their physicians are perfectly capable of making these decisions and should be able to make them without any government interference, per the Constitution's protections under the 9th and 14th Amendments, why is this still being challenged? The women of 2013 are even more educated and knowledgeable about their bodies, options, and rights than in 1973. We should be strengthening those rights, not taking them away. Finally, this bill is absolutely contrary to the values that we hold most dear as human beings and American citizens, and that is our personal decision-making.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Testimony. Thank you for being here tonight. Geneva Crowley, is Geneva here? Have you represented yourself against the bill?
Yes, sir. I'm Geneva Crowley. I'm representing myself against the bill. I'm a constituent of Donna Howard. I am an instructor for science, technology, and engineering math for at-risk youth, or for elementary students. So I come to you just against the bill because as someone who's very mathematically inclined, this bill makes me uncomfortable since it's just not very mathematically coherent. So you're going to make women drive these ridiculous mileages to get this procedure done, which is very heartbreaking. But where does this money come from? As well? I mean, I understand there's this big, what if you're hurting this fetus issue? But where is this money coming from to support these kids? I mean, there's nothing. I don't see anything in there about being able to support these women who, they're mostly low income and they don't have anything at all, and it's really difficult to carry a child to term. It's millions of dollars, and you have to have proper nutrition and all these things involved. And then as well, just going on an emotional level, since it seems that you're very emotionally inclined, how are you going to testify that all these women who made this choice to be sexually active and not protect themselves decide that there should be this parents? I mean, I take care of these elementary students who are beautiful, beautiful, bright children, but some of their parents, well, not mine, but some of the ones that I've heard, actually mine are really good, but some of the stories I've heard, they shouldn't be parents. I mean, they're leaving their kids without someone to pick up, and you hear all these beautiful stories and all these not so great ones, but I feel like in the end we should be able to have the choice over our body, and I think as well we should be more mathematically coherent in our bills and make those suggestions in there that if you're going to take something away, you have to make sure that there's another resource to put back into it. All right, thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Elizabeth Lozano, here representing herself against the bill.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Coslino. I'm a PhD student at the University of Texas, and I'm here against the bill. Calling this bill a bill about women's health is...
Excuse me, the next time I see a camera come up taking pictures, I'm gonna have you escorted out back there, okay? I don't know how many times we've asked you not to do that. Do we understand? Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, that's okay. Calling this a bill about women's health is disingenuous and ironic from this legislator that has sought to cut funding from preventative health services for over 130,000 women, including Planned Parenthood. It's also disingenuous and ironic for Governor Perry to support women's health, or to support this as women's health, when he's refused to accept federal funds for Medicaid expansion that would materially and factually improve the health of tens of thousands of uninsured Texas women. This bill displays a willful rejection of the expert knowledge of the medical community. Medical professionals like the CDC advisor David Grimes conclude that these types of regulations are medically unnecessary and wastefully expensive. This bill is an example of excessive government regulations infringing on personal freedom. If these regulations were about getting a gun instead of getting an abortion, then this bill would never have been written. The legislators are not medical experts, and I trust medical experts to determine the safety standards of medical procedures more than I trust a legislator to determine that. This is government coming between me and my doctor, a type of unnecessary and wasteful regulation that many had feared from things like Obamacare. This isn't a bill about protecting women's health, and women know it. That's why we're here. No one believes that this bill is designed to protect and improve women's health because the experts say that it won't. If the legislator really wants to improve women's health, it should expand women's access to preventive health measures by funding Planned Parenthood, by accepting the Medicaid expansion, et cetera. And finally, in regards to those who are testifying in favor of the bill, and shared their heartbreaking stories. It's okay that this bill would not have forced you to choose an abortion, so don't force other people to make the same decision that you made. Basically, this bill is an infringement on personal freedom and is a unnecessary and expensive government regulation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Hillary Ann Crosby, here representing herself against the bill.
Good evening. My name is Hillary Ann Crosby, and I'm here to testify against House Bill 60. I'm a constituent of Representative Lloyd Doggett. I'm a 24-year-old, outspoken, independent voter and a firm believer in a woman's right to choose. And even more than that, I'm an absolute supporter of a woman's right to choose a safe abortion. Really, I cannot stress enough how important it is for women to have access to safe abortions. If you don't know what at-home abortions involve, look them up sometime if you have the stomach for it. Women have made themselves seriously ill or hurt or have often died. But hey, I'm sure you all have done your research, right? Because you're doing this for the health and safety of your female constituents and all that good stuff. It's easy to take for granted that my Austin peers and I have access to clinics, that we haven't had to resort to any of the terrifying alternative methods. But this bill has the power to leave the women of West Texas, the Valley, the Panhandle, with little other choice. Again, I'm sure you know this, just a friendly reminder about your female constituents. Thankfully, I've only ever lived under the pro-choice results of 1973's Roe v. Wade. Granted, there have always been the constant battles to greatly limit access to abortion services, but the option has at least always been there for me should I need it. I want to stress again and again and again that House Bill 60 will not prevent women from choosing abortion. These procedures have always and will always happen, period. Making abortions illegal would only leave women in desperate situations making desperate decisions. Before abortions were legalized, women were left to subject themselves to so-called back alley abortions under grotesquely unsafe conditions. Scores of women became seriously infected or died as a result of these. Just like any other procedure, an abortion carries with it the risk of injury or infection. Taking away a woman's right to have a trained physician care for her in the safety of a clinic near her home is in no way pro-life. From the conversations I've had with other 20-something-year-old girls, the consensus seems to be that while we never want to have to consider having an abortion, we're thankful that the choice is our own.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Pat Cunny, here representing herself against the bill. Is Pat here? We'll show her against the bill. Connie, C-U-N-E-Y. Okay. Come on up.
Thank you so much. Just a point of order before I start. I just signed up a minute ago, and I'm sure there are other people who've been waiting all afternoon.
You know what? It's lucky. Consider yourself lucky.
Okay, well, I just wanted to say that as a point of order. So, I am Pat Cuney, and I am representing myself. So, I am 63. I was there before Roe v. Wade, and let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it was not a pretty picture. But there is no question. It's just a hard time speaking in public, but you know, in 1966, I wrote my first letter to a legislator. I was 16. It was about this issue. You know, I have been dealing with this issue since I was 16. And you know, you're not going to win ever. We're not going to allow you to keep us from having abortions if we want them. All you can do is kill us in the process. That's all I have to say. That don't do this bill.
Thank you for your testimony. Laura Davila, representing Feminist Austin Network Group and self, against the bill. We'll show her against the bill, not testifying. Leah Davis, Leah Davis, representing herself against the bill. We'll show Leah Davis against the bill, not testifying. Okay.